So in the upper room, Christ just taught about the Father. And then he transitions and starts telling the apostles, the disciples, about the Spirit, the Holy Spirit. And he says, I'm going to ask the Father, he's going to give you an advocate that's going to be with you forever. Spirit of truth, and the world cannot accept him. He says, the world can't know him, but you know him. And then he goes on and he says, I've spoken while I'm with you, so you'll know this. But the advocate, the Holy Spirit, the Father will send in my name, will teach you all things, remind you of everything I've said to you. So Jesus in the upper room, obviously, is wrapping things up on earth, his ministry. And he's kind of side-swiped the apostles with, I'm leaving. This is over. And he even says, like in a passage, that it's to your advantage that I leave. And so they're troubled. They don't understand. Judas is gone. Simon Peter's been called out. Like it's just a crazy moment. If you can really think about someone you love dearly, just goes, by the way, this is my last day with you. I'm leaving. But Christ, being Jesus, being God, he says, I'm not going to leave you alone. That was probably the fear, right? Like they had sold out, given everything for him. And then he goes, this is over. Like I'm gone. And he starts talking about the Holy Spirit. And he says, I'm going to ask the Father, and the Father's going to give you the helper. And so the Spirit of God is not a new concept to them. When you read the Old Testament, Moses talks about the Spirit being on him, David, the prophets, judges, kings, the Spirit of God would come upon them. The difference in the Old Testament was it would be temporary, it'd be for a moment, for a very specific purpose. And when that moment or purpose was over, it's gone. And Jesus says, he's not just coming to you for a moment. He's going to be with you forever now. In other words, the presence of God, the reality of God, the truth of God is going to be a part of your life and in you, is what he says. He says he's going to dwell with you and be in you. And again, this would have been like a mind blow for the apostles, for anyone hearing it, because God's presence in the Old Testament was literally confined to a room. In the tabernacle, the temple, there's a room called the Holy of Holies. And it was a place where it was so revered, the presence of God, like the only one that could go in on one day a year was the high priest into the Holy of Holies and atone for humanity. And so when Christ flips this paradigm and says, God's been in this room, you're familiar with that. Now God's coming out of that room and he's going to dwell not only with you, he's going to dwell within you. Like they know the holiness, the presence of this. And to flash forward, we know when Christ dies that it's recorded that the veil, which is separated the Holy of Holies from the other rooms, it literally says the veil was torn from top to bottom. And a lot of scholars interpret that as torn from God to man, like God initiated the tear, but that was into the Holy of Holies. And they don't know that's coming. But Jesus says God's presence is going to be with you now. And it's not going to be he comes upon you anymore. He's going to live within you. And he says, I'm not going to leave you as orphans. Again, they were worried about being abandoned. And Jesus just goes right to their fear and says, you're going to know God in a way you've never known him. Like his presence is going to be 24/7, 365 for us. And he says he'll be a helper. And this word helper is a significant word. It's called paraclete or parakletos. And it means one who's called alongside. And some of the translations are he's your helper, he's your advocate, he's your counselor, he's your comforter. And we don't have one English word that captures Paracletus completely. We don't have a word to go, oh, that's what it is. It takes a multitude of words to try to capture what the Paraclete, the Spirit of God, is to us, for us, through us, and in us. The Holy Spirit isn't merely a force. He's God's personal presence with us, with his people. And he says, like, the helper is going to teach you, he's going to remind you, he's going to guide you. And he's the one, the Holy Spirit is the one that will kind of pick up the mantle and continue Jesus's ministry on earth, in us and through us. And in chapter 16 and 7, Jesus just says, listen, it's to your advantage that I go away. And I don't know, like, that would be a tough pill to swallow. Like, but the truth is, like, when Jesus was here in the earth, wherever his body was where he was. Like, if he's out in the driveway, he's out there. He's not in this room. If he's at your house, he's not at my house. But the Holy Spirit is omnipresent. In other words, when Jesus physically went away, the Holy Spirit would return in omnipresence and the ability to be at your house, in my house, in you and in me, the driveway and in this room simultaneously. And that's what Jesus is saying, is like, listen, when you leave this room, if you split up, God's going with all of you, versus Jesus, will you go with me? I was going with Simon Peter today. Sorry. That whole gig. Like he said, God will be in you, with you. The Paraclete will walk beside you and be in you. And so how do we practice that today? And this is where I really wanted to, like, throw some thoughts out for a moment, that we start by just being aware, living with an awareness of God's presence. Like, if you didn't hear anything else today, it would be practice the presence of God being with you all the time. Just start being mindful of it, start being aware of God is with me. And some simple things. Like, one, just acknowledge that God's with me. God's right here. God's talking. He's part of this moment. He's on your side of the screen right now. And secondly, invite him into the ordinary moments of your life. Most of our life is ordinary. It's not like there's, every day is extraordinary, crazy, mind-blowing stuff. It happens, but he's with you when you have coffee, and he's with you when you drive down the road. And practice that presence. Acknowledge him. Invite him into those moments with you. And then listen for him, listen for conviction and guidance and prompts and reminders, and just kind of be sensitive to, like, what might, if he's with me right now, like, is there anything he wants to remind me of? Is there anything that he wants to convict me of? Is there any guidance he wants to offer in my life? Like, what would it be like if Jesus were right here? Like, it'd be crazy. Like what? And yet that's what he's saying, is the Spirit of God is there. And if we could practice that like we would practice the physical presence of Christ, and respond to his prompts, his nudges and his insights, and then learn how to walk with him daily. Like, wake up in the morning, just go, good morning, God. Reminds me, Jesse Duplantis used to say, he woke up every day and said something like, good morning, God, Jesse's here, or something like that. I forget what he said, but if we woke up and the first thought of the day was like, good morning, God, like, I invite you to be a part of my life today. But if we would just start practicing the presence of God by just remembering he's already there. The disciples feared they were going to be left alone. Jesus promised to them and to us, we never will be. I challenge you, and I accept the challenge, to practice that presence in an ongoing, regular way, in the routine, mundane, and also in the exciting and celebratory. Thanks for checking us out. Have a great day.